New research shows a record number of Gen Z are stepping away from dating, relationships, and sex. About 1 in 3 men under 30 are saying that they didn't even have sex in the past year. And way fewer are in a relationship, especially compared to millennials at the same age. Experts do say it's a mix of things: fear of rejection, confusion about masculinity today, and the most important, the easy access to digital alternatives like popcorn and OnlyFans. Valuetainment made a video about it, and they talked in details about these topics and more in a video called Masculinity is Being Vilified: Why Gen Z Men Are Giving Up on Sex and Relationships.
Thanks to Anna pointing this out to me, that there is strong emerging evidence Gen Z is indeed less sexually active, dating less compared to previous generations.
Yes.
What's going on, guys?
So many things.
Okay, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. But first, let me set it up and give you the deets. Okay, what's going on? So
Can we go past the? Can we go over?
We can if you can, Doc.
Yeah, I go over. Yeah.
So there have now been multiple studies indicating that young men. I'm talking about the ages
Can we
when
do
they're
it
like
point by point as you're bringing these things up? Can I address them as you bring
Sure,
them up?
sure. So
each of these things have layers to them.
They
So
do,
let's go.
they do.
Young
So
men.
I'm gonna
Young
give
men
you-
first. Let's talk about them.
we're going to talk about young men first, and this has to do with their sexual activity.
Yes.
So
Can you define young so we can?
yes, I am.
Good point.
Under
So let me do it
Go.
uninterrupted so I
Okay,
can get it
sorry.
out.
Beg your
Okay.
pardon.
So Indiana University, for instance, did a study, and they found in their study of men between the ages of 18 to 24. So we're talking about the time when they like really want to get it on, usually,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Only one in 3 of them reported no sexual activity in the past year. 1 in 3.
Yeah.
So 1/3 of young men in that age group, no sex at all.
Yeah.
And I want to know why.
What's the comparison point? Like what happened
What were
20
they
years
normal?
ago?
What was it? Yeah.
Yeah, 20 years ago, what was the rate?
I don't know the
I promise
comparison
it was
rate.
higher 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior, the study is the first to include such a comprehensive assessment of diverse sexual behaviors. The information came from U.S. participants ages 14 to 49 during 2009.
14 to 49.
Yeah.
2009?
No, between 2009 and 2018. So this is a long-term study that they did.
So, and by the way, it's worse since COVID.
Yes.
COVID
Okay.
made it
Oh,
worse.
yeah, completely.
Yes. So
I mean, with COVID, it's not only with men, it's with everyone. I think the generation that got the most screwed with COVID is Gen Z, because that time they should have been out exploring, testing, meeting people, and was like the best time for them, and they had to like sit at home and be in kind of detention for the best time of their lives, kind of. So I do feel sorry for Gen Z when it comes to that, because they did miss out big time.
there have been other studies showing that this was even more pronounced after COVID.
What's the mechanism there?
Really, before you go,
Many.
doctor, can I just say one quick thing?
Please.
I blame feminism. Listen, Tinder just put out Tinder.
All right, we're going there. Okay, I see you.
Just put out a height filter. What I can say about this
Girl,
dating
that is
market
not feminism.
is
Women hating on the short kings is not
but
feminism.
women believing that they should be.
That's true. Like, physical appearance, when it comes to men being short, like, they cannot do anything about it. While also, like, women can do a lot of things about their looks with makeup, surgeries and stuff. Men can do stuff like that. But when it comes to height, rarely. And if they do, it's like just a couple of centimeters, and the surgery is not even worth it. But they tend to make up excuses about dating people who are short. Like, they make preferences, and then when men do make preferences when it comes to their weight, their height, their look, they're like, excuse me, how dare you?
Empowered enough that they can create their own custom-built men, that they deserve everything, don't need to work for anything, whereas men, they need to build up their income, their body, their physique,
Their height.
their personal development. That's the one thing they
can't.
can't build up, right?
Literally.
This dating market is totally rigged for women, and I think that's why guys aren't getting laid.
But Benny Johnson said this to me, and then I'm going to stop talking because I definitely want to hear from Dr. Drew, but he's like, the world was a better place when men had a harder time seeing boobs, and I kind of wonder.
Okay,
But anyway, okay, go.
my bad.
That's another.
Is that maybe because they don't have this digital alternative access that is so much easier right now than for them to go out there and try? Because even if they did try, they would get rejected so easily, and now they are kind of scared of rejection, and they would rather get the easy way out. You know what I mean?
layer to it. That their men are just okay.
Too much porn.
So let me
That
just
is my question.
Let me quickly clarify the study, okay? Because it wasn't a long-term study. My bad, I misread this. So they did the study in 2009, and then they did the same study in 2018. Yes. So to compare, and this is what they write. So they say, compared to adult participants in the 2009 survey, adults in the 2018 group were significantly more likely to report no penile vaginal intercourse in the prior year, the researchers found. Study participants were also significantly less likely to report engaging in any other sexual behaviors, such as oral sex or, other things.
Anything. Yeah.
All modes of past year partnered sex were reported by fewer in the 2018 cohort. So it is a growing problem.
Oh yeah, and so we know birth rates are plummeting, right?
Right.
So people are not forming pairs, they're not falling in love, they're not having sexual encounters. There's some data that shows that the apps are leaving a 5 or 10% zone of men that are having lots of sex, and they're the ones that
Super
are
users.
super users, and they're actually hurting people. They're hurting women. And women I hear a lot from women, where are the men? Where are all the
There's
men?
a term for that.
There's
They're
no
called
men.
fuckboys.
Well, you have,
Yes.
you have
Exactly.
vilified
F-boys, that is the problem.
being a man. You have vilified it. I have been around the Gen Z and the millennials for quite some time. And what I saw was men fearful of being seen as toxic or trying to rape. They just withdrew. And if you, God help you, if you offer a girl a beer,
I'll take the beer.
I would too.
I'm a married
I have a friend
woman.
that got kicked out of 2 bars in New York for buying women drink. 2 different bars.
Are you serious?
It's considered predatory.
Wow.
See, that's the problem. That is exactly the issue. And I kind of do connect it with cancel culture and the fear of getting canceled and getting berated online out there, ruining your life, your career, and everything because of a woman who just had a bad day or was PMSing.
Men are scared shitless. They don't know what to do. Then because they're withdrawing so much, they first of all don't feel worth. They're being told they're not worthwhile. They're particularly young white men are told they're bad, they're evil, they're the source of all problems. And they don't develop the skills necessary to
communicate.
date, to
Oh, that's so
communicate,
sad.
to determine what they want to do. And they turn to porn.
I was going to ask you
And
that.
the porn gives them unrealistic expectations about
course.
everything.
Oh, yeah.
And they sort of take the position like, I'm fine, I got my porn, I'm fine. And for the first time, I did a show called After Dark for a few years over at your mom's house. And I started hearing about, from young men, something I had not heard all these decades talking to young men, the use of prostitutes. They were starting to turn to prostitutes because they had no other option.
Do
And
you
not only
think
that, but OnlyFans, because OnlyFans, especially in today's generation, young women are literally getting excited to turn 18 so they can create an
my God.
OnlyFans because
that breaks my
they are
heart.
seeing
Yeah.
other women out there portray this lifestyle, and you know why they're oftentimes portraying it? Because there are affiliate programs attached to OnlyFans where if you recruit other women, you make a
like a
buck
pyramid scheme.
off of
No,
what they
that's-
make.
Like, apparently, as you can see, so many OnlyFans women are saying how awesome it is to be an OnlyFans. You should join it too. Use my code and stuff like that, or join my OnlyFans. The reason they do it, like the promotion of it and getting affiliates, getting other users on OnlyFans gives them a percentage. So whatever that user is earning, they are getting a percentage. And if they get so many users, they can just earn from that without even having to do OnlyFans anymore.
terrible?
It's a pyramid scheme for
Where are
sex.
the parents?
But this is the
are the
prostitution
parents? I have the
aspect
answer
is becoming
to
more
that
and more
question.
normalized. And it's not just that. They're not only buying these women's pictures, but then their managers are messaging them, building parasocial relationships with these men.
The parasocial relationship thing, it's
sick.
huge.
Very
It's
damaging.
sick.
So Dr. Drew, one last question, because I hear you in regard to culture and how that's changed and how that impacts, relationships in America. I am also curious about the impact of social media and how increasingly people aren't actually meeting with their friends in real life, communicating
All of it.
face to face. So when you don't
100%.
have that, there's like a difficulty in communicating when you're trying to, seduce someone into
All
a
of it
relationship.
speaks of no experience, no skill.
Right.
I remember back in the 90s, I used to be, the hookup culture was the big thing. And I kept saying, you're not happy doing this, I can tell, because you're always drunk when you do it. And I was advocating dating, where you just sit down, enjoy time with somebody, learn who you are, learn who to break bread, whatever. Don't have all these expectations on every time you go out with somebody. That needs to come back again. That people need to hang out in person, in flesh with people a lot, and just enjoy that and develop a skill and start to figure out who you are, what you want, and who other people are. But this village.
That actually reminds me, I don't know if it was in Spain, but like a couple of months ago, the electricity was out and you could see people going out and hanging out because they didn't have their phones, so they were not able to scroll on their phones. So they had to go out and entertain themselves talking with other people. And it looked like something vintage, like old school, like, what? That's a thing, and it's so beautiful. It looks so beautiful. They were playing music, they were dancing, talking, laughing. Nobody on their phone, not even one person. That was majestic.
The qualification of the young male has gone out of control, and they're pissed.
Yeah.
And I'm worried when they come out of it that they're
I
going
have
to
a
be...
confession,
Adam said the
like
same thing.
a big confession. Okay, so look, every woman is different. So I don't speak for all women.
You don't?
I
Why
don't.
not? Come
But
on.
I also have a problem with like some women, you know, who have engaged in that, you know, rhetoric in regard to men, kind of speaking on my behalf, because I'll just talk about my preference. My preference is masculine men, like traditionally masculine men.
Me
That's what I'm
too.
just attracted to. I can't explain why. It just is what it is.
That's
so
natural.
This like push to make men meek is unfair to women who don't want meek men either.
And that is so true as well. I was scrolling Instagram this morning, which I'm like talking so badly about social media, but I'm scrolling it and using it myself like we all do. So I was scrolling it and I did get a post from, doesn't matter which place, but I got a post and it said that 70-year-old men back in the day had the testosterone levels of 20-year-old men today. Which means that 20-year-old men have so less testosterone that they should have. Imagine how much testosterone 20-year-old men had back in the day. So that tells you there is a problem. Now, what is the cause? Is it the food we are eating? Is it the lifestyle we are living? Is it the jobs we are choosing? We need to study this. This needs to change. We need our men to have testosterone back.
There are women who truly want that,
very
Dr.
few
Drew.
people
In fact,
want
from an
that.
evolutionary perspective, the
Doesn't make sense.
masculine guy
Right.
thing, I remember
Like if
seeing
I'm on a
study-
train or if I'm on the metro and there's someone who's threatening my safety and there's a bunch of men there and they just kind of sit back and let it happen, that's a freaking problem in
But the
society.
thing is,
Right.
there's a huge demographic, to your point, who does celebrate wife guys, right? Like, remember how they elevated Doug Emhoff because he was all feminine and happy to be behind Kamala Harris? Do you remember that?
Well, they do
They-
with some women
no one's
too,
hot for
though.
Doug Emhoff, though,
What I
in real
mean
life.
is, that's the kind of man
That's a
the one-
psyop, Doug Emhoff.
I mean, look
You
at
know
look
what?
at
No one is hot for Doug Emhoff.
That's not what I'm saying. Is that's what they're celebrating as the archetype. And Dr. Drew, since you're here, I want to bring a medical component into this,
Okay.
and that's the use of Propecia and finasteride.
Yep.
I was going to ask you that.
is that
Could it
birth
be
control?
plummeting testosterone levels?
So
Hair stuff.
here are the
Right.
It
things.
blocks androgens, which I'll let the doctor do
So
this.
Propecia and all these medicines do drop testosterone.
And millions of men
And they
are on
drop
it.
libido. And in about 20% of cases, it never comes back.
Oh God.
So when that was documented about 10 years ago, I had to call all my patients on Propecia and say, "Do you still want to continue?" Most of them did.
But
I would.
what about this?
So-
what about this piece
It never
too?
comes back?
There were
20%.
some
Wait, what does
reports
Propecia
that
do,
when
though?
women take birth
Hold on.
control, it
Also,
actually alters the type
it
of
can
man
go-
that they are attracted to.
or-
They are attracted to
Yep.
more beta,
Or it
feminine
drops their
males.
sex
Tell
drive.
me how to fix this finasteride problem. I need to know.
Hair transplants. Get off the finasteride.
No, but what if they're
the
against
hair
it?
transplant.
Trust me, I've gone
You
down this
can't
whole...
do the TRT because then they go bald. You see, if they have a problem, then you do TRT,
I've
but they will
asked-
go further bald.
I've
So
researched this extensively, and one solution that was presented was topical finasteride.
Yeah,
but
so-
what
so-
if they have hair currently?
So the high dose Rogaine with finasteride and a steroid is a very effective topical agent. Some of it is absorbed still, and so, but that is an alternative.
But you have a
yes.
bigger problem with crashing
Guys,
testosterone.
would you rather have hair or testosterone? Like, come on. I would rather have a bald Vin Diesel than a hairy Vin Diesel that is looking like a lady. I can't. Oh my God.
We don't know why.
Well,
and
it's all the above, plus obesity,
Obesity's a
testosterone
problem, yeah.
down, estrogen up.
Yep.
You know, there's so many reasons our testosterone levels are down. We need to get back. Resistance training needs to be part of our daily life.
Yep.
Everybody. And it's just we are
Weightlifting.
unhealthy.
Dr.
stress,
you're
weight
referring
management,
to-
lower body training.
You and I would agree 100% on this.
This
Lower
is
body
news to
training
love it.
would-
Thank you. Please.
But I
Guys
have one more
usually
big
skip
sweeping
leg
thing I want
day.
to
Yes,
say,
tell
but before
us.
finish your thought
You're
about
referring to
finasteride.
post-finasteride syndrome, correct?
Yes.
And you're saying it's incurable, so basically their libido is gone forever.
That's what that, in a small, in a limited
But for that 20%, you're saying there's
20%.
nothing that can
That's
be done.
what that's what some data came out with about 10 years ago.
That's
yes.
devastating news. Like for humanity, the
Yeah, I
fact that
know.
millions of men are on it.
No, you can put that person on testosterone and other things and override it, but then they'll go further bald.
Oh, God.
And so,
Wow.
so
But
it's-
basically, these men are. Let me be clear what's
Choosing
happening.
hair.
These American men, and they're choosing their hair over sex. Is what they're doing.
Literally choosing their hair, which usually you would think is to attract women, but they don't want women and they don't want sex. They choose it like. Okay, so when you tell me, when a guy comes and says, why do women use makeup? And when a woman says, I use it for myself, and they're like, get out of here, you use it for men. And now you're the one who is using these products for hair, but you don't use it for women, you use it for yourself. Interesting.
the ones that stayed on Propecia in my practice were not noticing a drop in their sex drive. They didn't notice it. So it doesn't mean everybody has a significant drop in testosterone.
Listen, girl,
common.
vanity is a powerful, powerful thing. And I get it. I'm vain. I don't
There's so
mind
many
admitting
things
I'm
they can do,
vain.
though.
If like, oh, you're not gonna have a
In some
healthy
cases, I am
It's
too.
healthy
Yeah.
for
you're not
you
gonna
to
have
want
like the
to
best
care
sex
for your
drive,
body.
but you're gonna look 10 years younger. Give it to me. I want it.
I heard the conversation you guys had before the mics heated up. Come on now. But let me just say one big thing. I wanted to address the hysteria thing because I'm a time traveler. Remember that. And I come from a previous time and era.
Sure, buddy.
And I worked in a psychiatric hospital where I saw the personality changes in real time in this country. So when somebody's admitted to a psychiatric hospital, this is a follow-on to the comment hysteria. Hysteria is the enemy, and I want to contextualize it. When I first arrived at psych hospital, I was looking at the admitting sheets. Patients would come in every day, and the personality disorders, so-called, were all over the place. Dependent personalities, obsessive-compulsive personalities, sociopathic personalities, they were all over the place. And I noticed as we moved into the end of the 80s, it shifted to borderline personality disorder. And by the 90s, it was only cluster B personality disorders. So sociopath, narcissist, borderline. That's it, 100%. And every borderline had at least 10 lawsuits under her belt. They were all females. There's a bias towards women with that. And I thought, wow, this is interesting. And I watched those women move from using the legal system when the legal system caught on and they started slapping them with the cost of the lawsuits that were frivolous and stuff. They became lawyers, they became judges, and they became regulators. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. And I thought we had sort of shifted narcissistic, which we had, but we moved past narcissism into borderline. And a very close relative of borderline is hysterical, the histrionic personality. And I was listening to Michael Schallenberger talk to a astrophysicist psychologist who framed it this way. I'm going to interview him in about a week.
I love that.
And this guy's named Vaknin. And he said, originally we were sort of in a psychotic phase where you could hear voices and see things, and you were sort of, no one thought anything of it. You were a religious person. You saw God, you heard God, and it was not pathologized. Then we hit the Enlightenment, and individualism broke out, and we sort of moved into this narcissistic phase. And he said that was the era of narcissism, really like 1800 to now. And he said we moved into borderline now. And the key, in addition to hysteria, the other key feature of borderline is the need to discharge emotion. He said, narcissists, they have rage and they get angry and they pick up a gun and go to war. Borderlines aren't interested in doing anything except discharging emotion. Think about the demonstrations lately. Discharging and making you uncomfortable with their emotions that they're uncomfortable with
Social
themselves.
media.
Yeah.
It's a borderline process.
Oh my God.
We have to
Doc,
contain it.
I came in and with these clips of people at these protests
screaming. Oh, like
Yeah,
children.
what's wrong with them?
It's
Yeah.
beyond
Like
children.
babies.
My children have never screamed quite like that.
That is, they're worse than, that's so true. It's worse than children. And like, you would think, okay, they have autism, they have they're on the spectrum, they have some issue. No, they're normal people who are actually not normal when you think about it, but they're not autistic. Even it's disgrace to call them like that. It's disgrace to autistic people who are actually sick, who are actually not sick, but dealing with something else. So I don't know. I love those clips because they're entertaining to watch at, and it makes me have more content on my channel. But I cannot believe how many of them there are. And I'm still questioning, where were they in the 90s? Okay, we didn't have social media, but you would hear that the daughter or the son of your neighbor behaved in a certain way. But I never heard of any of those. When I was growing up, I never saw anything like that on the street or in protest. And I was in a couple of them as a teenager.
They're just in the face of
Like demons.
and they're like, ah, ah, ah,
It's
and
not
then, kill
normal.
yourself, kill yourself, kill. One guy was like, eat a cock bullet, kill yourself, Nazi fuck, and I was so I was so disturbed.
And that
it
person
seemed like they'd been
claims
infected with
they
something.
claim to be caring and they
Yes.
actually have huge rage that's disavowed, and they have to put it out there.
Jeez,
And
Doc.
so-
And it's kind of egged on by the hysteria in the media, right? The
And
simple
they're
narratives.
fueling it.
Did you see the study about
They're
how
probably
media.
also
like
borderline. Yeah.
20% of liberal women have some sort of mental disorder?
Higher
I
than
would
that.
not.
Oh,
there you go.
They seem like it. I'm
Insane.
sorry, but it's like also you're looking at an individual who has a certain aesthetic, and you're like, okay, well, what does it take to let yourself gain 100 pounds, shave your head, or dye it blue, pierce your
Depression.
septum? Like, what goes on for you emotionally? And that there is definitely a demographic that fits a certain.
And their
Very
childhood.
few brown people, by the way, very few black people at these things. Didn't see one Asian, but I saw a lot of
You're
white
never going to see an
liberals.
Asian there, I'm telling you.
Yes.
Screaming.
Okay, can I just weigh
I'm
in on that
sorry.
very, very briefly? Because there was that video that went viral featuring two white people in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Blocking the black woman?
Yes, and this
Yeah.
poor black woman,
I know.
she's like, I'm just trying to get to work, please. Like, she's like begging them.
terrifying.
And they're like shouting her down,
Yes.
basically telling her this protest and what we're protesting about is more important
More
than your
important,
job.
yeah,
No,
like,
you have to
why?
go to work.
That's like the most narcissistic behavior, in my opinion. When you think that your problems are bigger than other people's problems and that you interfere in their daily life, causing them problems furthermore because of your issue. Like, how narcissistic is that?
And it made me so angry
They
because
don't really care.
they
No,
don't really care. What they care more about is like
Discharging their emotion.
discharging their emotion, showing everyone
Not even
their
the cause.
virtue,
Virtue signaling,
right? But it's
yeah.
like
Virtue
Which is
signal.
let this
narcissism.
poor woman go,
True.
okay?
You know, he made 115 grand, that same guy, off of a BLM protest lawsuit. He was at BLM.
Don't get me
sued somebody,
started with
got
that.
115 G's in a settlement. But he doesn't really care about black lives. When there's a black
absolutely
mom
not.
saying, what about my kids? How do I pay my
Yeah.
bills?
It's not about the
having
cause.
Holy
been
mother of
working
God.
3
Disturbing
decades,
stuff.
3 decades in a psychiatric hospital with these personality disorders, they need containment. They're happier, they feel better. We're all happier when they are contained.
What does that mean?
Now, I do have a question for this doctor and doctors out there, especially when it comes to the psychology sphere. I feel like it's less and less people going and seeking help with a psychologist, talking about their problems, issues, and having this containment thing that he's talking about. I feel like now people just say, I'm different. I identify as this and that, when in reality they do have an issue that it needs to be treated medically, but they deny it and they don't want to go through it. So they are completely lost and out there for the wolves.
Contained.
A show of force.
That's what
Like, you have to surround them and you have to go, stop. You're fine. We're going to go to work. You need to stop. You
Yep.
have to, like we started with at the beginning of the show, we were saying, you have to ask people to do something.
Right.
You have to ask things of people, and you have to keep your compass right until you're not stepping on anybody's livers or
Dr.
anything.
What about a healthcare solution to it, though? Because how many of these people
Mama,
need
what are you gonna do?
care?
You're gonna
Like
be like,
Medical, yeah.
No.
You need a doctor.
Lithium.
I'm not saying on an individual.
I mean, don't bring back asylums, but something, you know?
Well, I'm not talking about an individual level. I'm talking about a more systemic level, right? Like,
How?
what if these people have undiagnosed mental
They
health
all
issues?
do, but how do you address that? And there's totally
Well, mental
completely
health care, by the
unconscious.
way, isn't covered by a lot of insurance companies. People don't seek it out. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and yes. However, I think what we knew, and I've always thought this was my job, we have to work on the culture, the health of the culture.
Right.
And we have to call things out. Adam said to me the other day, he goes, it's time to settle some hash. And I thought, that's the idea. We just got to like call things out, and we have to know what we know, stand firm, and keep doing what's right and important. And just, you know, men need to date, men need to be masculine, men need to be, we just stop it, everybody, stop it. Keep moving forward. Let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for.
I completely agree with this. Also, culture, society. What we have allowed for the last couple of years is this cancel culture to keep growing. We felt victimizing them, making them more, like giving them the priority. And then they saw that we gave them a finger, so they pulled the whole hand and they took the whole hand. And then now is the time. And I feel like 2025 is the year when we started feeling people saying, okay, stop, no more. All right, like you took too much, you did too much, you went too far, I am not allowing this. And I want to see more of this proactive behavior of people saying no more, I don't want to deal with this anymore, because we were so passive for so long, just spectating the things, and we saw things go too far. So now it's time to change the narrative. And especially if you're a mother or a father with a growing child who sees the world and will not always take your advice. One day he will start taking the advice of the street or the friends or schoolmates or roommates. So it is very important to start acting now so things can change in the future.